Hey guys, welcome to the Cold North podcast. Today I'm joined by another very special guest. I think this is like every time I have only special guests on, so that's good for me. This is Simon from the band BAEST, which is probably the biggest export we have in Denmark of death metal, one of the finest brands we have. They're a bunch of scary looking sweet guys. And
Yeah.
I got to know these guys from actually a documentary I saw on Danish television. And then I saw them live in Copenhagen, 2022, and that was a sick show. And also, I've had the I have been so fortunate to see the guys a couple of times and also talk to Simon. But this is the first time really having an in-depth conversation with him, so I'm stoked about that.
Yep.
And without further ado, let's get into this. There we go. Hey, Simon.
Hey, man.
How's
Nice
it go?
a pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
driving.
It's going well. Yeah, I'm driving. Yeah, I don't know if this is illegal or anything like that, but I have my eyes on the road and
Yeah,
my ears on you. So
that's great. I think you're hands free, so that's good.
yeah, actually, yeah.
So you've been touring a lot lately. How's it been going with the shows?
Yeah, it's been great. Last week we toured in Sweden. We did a couple of shows with Arch Enemy.
Yeah.
And one of them was joined by Solwork, our own Bastian Tuskor on the drums, also from Denmark. So we were kind of stoked about that. That was some sick shows. And now the last couple of festival shows awaits for this summer, and then we have a large European tour with Christian this November. So
Okay.
there's a lot in the books right now.
That sounds great. You're being busy.
Yeah, always busy. And then working kind of full-time, part-time job as well as a school teacher. So yeah, not a lot of free time, spare time, but yeah,
But
I tend to find holes and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. What better way to spend your free time than doing that?
Yeah, working.
Yeah, working. Yeah, I love working in my free time.
No.
So I wanted to get like a better understanding of you as a person in regards to like as an artist and especially your beginnings. Like, can you describe what inspired you to begin playing music or getting like into the more hard elements of music like metal back in the day? And maybe if there was anything visual that stood out to you where you was like, oh, that looks great. What is that? Or something along those lines.
Mm, uh, for me as a person and like individual, we never see BAEST as like. Of course, we're 5 individuals, but we are very, very connected.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, but for me personally, I started getting into heavy music kind of in the teenage years. I grew up in 80. I was born in 89, so my like teenage years was pretty much touched by the new metal scene at that time. So Slipknot and Korn and yeah, Deftones especially, which kind of had like a hip hop go to into it, but also had certain like dark images to tell. But sooner I got interested in the more extreme kind of music, and also visually that kind of like impressed me and shocked me
Yeah.
at that time. So yeah. I actually don't know about like how the visual as a visual artist, how I was inspired by that. I've never seen viewed myself as a visual artist.
Oh, I was more thinking.
More,
I was more thinking along the lines that you as a musician, so like, because it's just when you see like typical stuff like new metal or whatever that kind of hip hop inspired imagery compared to like the death metal imagery. There's quite a contrast where the death metal imagery is a lot gorier, more brutal in many ways. Like,
much more in your face.
Yeah.
Like I was I'm still a great fan of Deftones, and I would say that was the band that got me into like more heavier music back in the time, together with Slipknot and Korn and all that. And Deftones has definitely has a more artsy and like more clean, atmospheric. It goes great with the sound, like visual expression, than, for example, Cannibal Corpse or Cryptopsy, which is a lot more gory, a lot more provocative, and you can also see that the subjects that they deal with, like both lyrical, it's much more far away from each other than it actually that they are. So I guess I was into the more clean and more pure and atmospheric visual stuff back then, but I think it has evolved into something else today. I think both metal, death metal, whatever we call it, has gotten a deeper sense to it visually.
Yeah. There's a lot of things like in your lyrics that I've noticed as well, where you write in like images a lot, and I think you also convey like some of the more classic death metal imagery in your lyrics.
Absolutely.
which like seems to me like be a pretty big part of what like the BAEST kind of concept is, because it also like translates a lot to your, like, for example, your album artwork, which has some pretty brutal imagery as well.
You can say that we are kind of sticking to the death metal dogmas, both in terms of the visual artwork and also the also visually the lyrics, of course. You're right about that, but we also try to have like a center into it, and some themes, and something that has something deeper into it. For example, our latest album, Necrosapiens, is a free, how do you say it, an interpretation of the George Orwell novel 1984. We kind of like created our own universe and kind of put some more cosmic aesthetic themes and like post-apocalyptic themes into the songs, both the lyrics, but also if you dig into the artwork, which was made by Mitchell Nolte, an artist from Australia, I think. We tried to make a couple of, or he tried to make a couple of like small how do you call nods to different certain subjects and images, and also some shout outs for a lot of the music that we like. Necrosapiens, the Necrosar, which is the figure on the album cover, has like a necklace on his around his neck. Of course, it's a necklace, and an eye. And as far as I know, it's a nod to some different Entombed records. We're very, very fond and glad of Entombed.
That's a cool way of paying homage.
Yeah, exactly. And some different other styles as well. I think there are some nods to Carcass as well, and their art, their Opus hard work, which we listened a lot to when we were when we did the music for Necrosapiens. So there are different paying homages, both through the images and also through a lot through the lyrics as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you, when you collaborate with him, did you just write like, hey, we want you to reference these guys, or this is what we've been inspired from writing this album, or how did you portray what you wanted for that artwork?
That was most of all Sven, our guitarist, who was in contact with Mitchell. Actually, first we had another idea, we had another artist, but our record company wasn't really fond of that idea. So they had another idea and had like a catalog of artists, which they gave us and said, well, if you can make something like this work, it would be awesome. And then we found some cool drawings by Mitch Nolte at that time, and so the finger was like pointing in that, and he was in great understanding of the ideas we had, and we did a huge work in trying to explain the whole lyrical theme and the subjects and our idea about the George Orwell and the free interpretation from that. And he was very great at taking those words and putting them into visual ideas. So we were very happy, actually so happy that we wanted to work with him on the latest EP as well, because both the EP Justitia and Necrosapiens has like a connection to each other. The last EP was both, yeah.
So it's a like connection in terms of the themes.
Both the themes, but also it was kind of like some sort of sequel or prequel, whatever you call it.
Okay.
For us, it was most of all taking the ideas we didn't use on Necrosapiens and putting them into an EP. That's there are many explanations for making that EP as well, but the EP is both like tying a knot from the ideas of Necrosapiens, but also opening the gates for like the new BAEST sound. So for us, that EP was kind of like closing the door to the ideas and the whole process of Necrosapiens, but also like an opening for like how the new BAEST sound is going.
Yeah, how the new BAEST sound is gonna go
sound and yeah. Our experimentation with that.
Sick.
Yeah.
Most of your music videos have been performance videos. Just to name a few, you have Genesis, Ecclesia, Creature, Meat Hook Massacre, Vortex. A lot of them is like very performance based. Then you have some live videos, and I think like the feeling I get from you as a band, just going through your artwork and your band photos and what you have on YouTube in regards to videos, is like, okay, the focus here is mainly on the music and the artwork and the art, and not so much that you need to like portray a lot of stuff in like having a big huge budget music video with a lot of narration, a lot of story and all those kind of stuff like a lot of other bands kind of do, and it gives like a kind of down to earth vibe about you guys. That's also the feeling I get from like watching behind the scenes stuff. Is that something you've been active about, or like have been taking discussions on how do you approach like that whole thing?
I guess like from the start we of course we had ideas about big productions and ideas for music videos, but we also realized especially after Genesis how great a response there was from audience and fans with just making a simple music video. Our most viewed, take an example, our most viewed Genesis, as I spoke about, is our most seen video on YouTube. It took 6 hours, maybe 4 hours actually, to shoot. It was like at a big building, actually in the hometown where we came from. A guy who has a place called Snail Farm. He makes artifacts for movies and also shoots music videos. And we had absolutely no ideas, so we were just like, okay, let's put on some nice clothes that we like, and let's just play the songs with our cool instruments. And it worked very well. I think the biggest production we had was for Necrosapiens.
Yeah.
Which is actually also it was made by Christian Pontoppidan from Impulse as the producer and the director, and he made it as a actually as a hidden kind of commercial for a Royal beer. So Royal is kind of also like paid a lot of the expenses from the music video there. And it's a great video, and it also kind of sets a down-to-earth vibe how we are all about. It's about partying, it's about drinking beer, and it's about having fun with your friends, and about playing music and being into the tour bus and playing a concert. Kind of like that style. A lot of humor as well. So we found out like it's also about like we have no when it comes to like brainstorming or having ideas, we are kind of like fucking green. we are rednecks from Jutland, and making a huge fucking budget movie wouldn't be a part of our thing. Our thing is about having fun, being friends, down to earth, and playing music.
And you have totally established that, because the views speak for themselves, and like your success speaks it for itself, right? So you've gone as far as you've gone without having that. So like it can always be a thing you can add to the whole project. But like for now, I can totally get what you mean. And also that video, I saw it yesterday, and I was like totally like, what's going on? Are they drinking and driving? And then I saw like the commercial bit, which was a great twist, by the way, that it was alcohol-free beer.
Alcohol-free beer, yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is great. And I was also thinking, okay, Royal Beer must have had something to do with this, like a sponsorship of some sort.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
it still didn't really take you out of your own context. You were still like, just playing a show, having fun in the tour bus. So it didn't really mess with that vibe at all.
No, exactly. And I'm also like, that's something that all people can relate to. We're not like this great artistic. We don't like act that wants to like create a unique kind of aesthetic view. We just want to make it relatable to people. And I think what we do is kind of relatable to everybody. And if you want to play with some more aesthetics and some more artistic stuff, first of all, I think we're going to need some help and some advices. And second of all, it has to be after our like vibes, in our vibes as well.
That makes total sense. Speaking of relatability, your live shows have that's a kind of great keyword for the feeling of seeing you live, because it feels very connected with the audience. I saw you last year at Copenhagen, where you had quite a lot of production in regards to like huge like backdrops and stuff like that, and fire. And you also played back in 2000.
Almost scary.
Yeah. I filmed Cabal this year, and I was like almost stepped into one of those fire hoses or whatever they're called, and I was totally afraid to get close to it since then. But I wanted to ask you, like, how do you like approach that feeling from going like from smaller venue shows to playing bigger festivals now, and still retain that kind of down to earth connection? And how is like your approach to the whole production now when you're doing like bigger stages and stuff?
I think that, of course, we've always dreamed about doing these kind of productions. Our mentality is like stepping on the big stages, and this was a huge opportunity for the whole band to to take our expression and to take our whole relationship with the fans into another level, and like taking the fire show and the whole stage production was just a part of that dream. Of course, there's something in reality also called economics that
Yeah.
also plays in a lot, and that also has to like uh, that also has to be in mind. But the, that production is just like a kind of like setting the stages around us. I remember when we spoke to Jeppe Nissen, the CEO of Copenhagen. He said to us, uh, "Now I book you, and you can put. This is a great opportunity for you, but I know you can do this. I know you can. You can take all you want, stage props and all you want, but just to say you don't have to, because
Ah.
just being you, you always deliver. I have a great trust in you guys." And that was like, okay, we might take fires and great backdrops and kabuki drops and all that stuff, but also in mind that we could do this without it. So we just wanted to. I think we just did it for fun.
Yeah.
We just wanted to experience how it was to be a part of such big production, and also go through the whole uh, the whole communication, the whole apparatus of hiring the staff, and what does it take, and just for the experience, I guess.
Yeah, that's great because
Um,
you kind of need to try that out at some point if you want to like evolve to doing stuff like that in the future.
exactly, and of course it also does something to a live performance, and we
Mm.
are a live band.
Yeah,
That's what we most of all do.
but it still went
That's
down
what
to
we are best at.
yeah, exactly. And the thing you did there was mostly like I think enhance what you were already good at. Like it didn't really steal the attention away from you guys and the music. I
Ah,
compared to like some more gimmicky stuff, like Bloodbath that Michael Okafor had like blood in his face all over it and stuff like that,
yeah, exactly.
which is a bit more like theatrical.
Yeah, yeah, and but also kind of like Bloodbath is both theatrical, but in the sense of in a humoristic sense.
Yeah,
It also bit takes the piss of all those head dogments and the way that people thinks death metal is supposed to be. It's supposed to be gory and violent and uh, gloomy and aggressive in it, both in its visual outlet, and I that's why we also kind of like Bloodbath, because they are such. It's a super band. It's a super band put together by musicians from the Swedish death metal community, and that has been there for ages, and are the I would say the experts, the Superman
yeah.
that has been in the game for a lot of time. And I like that they also like kind of take the piss on the whole death metal. Oh, you have to look like a tough guy, and of course that's cool as well. But I believe today you it's we couldn't do that when we started. Of course, we had an idea that okay, we have to look angry and look aggressive and like, but we simply couldn't, because it felt too cool
Yeah.
and it felt too rock and roll. So it's like we kind of like a death metal band, but we do a rock and roll show.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a great way of thinking about it.
Much more, and we put a lot more energy into it, and a lot more uh, like audience activity, and that's what we think is fun. So
Yeah,
we we kind of took the ideas as well from Bloodbath, a bit taking the piss, but also made it like it has to be fun
Yeah.
to play music and to play live. Then it's gonna be fun for the audience to see as well.
Yeah, not taking themselves or everything too seriously, just having a good
No,
time
no.
there. Yeah,
Of course, taking the music very serious, but
of
kind of
course.
like not taking the whole aesthetic and artistic thing so much serious. Like
S-
it's just music, you know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
uh I
Or
can.
yeah.
This is fun. Like when you describe things now, like it's like a puzzle piece that fits together well. Like the whole vibe I got from watching you, getting to know you
Yeah.
online, and what you're telling me is like this is completely coherent. And that's great that because I think there's some longevity in that for you guys compared to always having to outdo yourself with wilder stuff and stuff like that. Which can be hard.
Exactly. As I said before, we are kind of like rednecks, so there are not a lot of kind of ideas. I guess there could be, but it would be totally. I don't know if it's gonna be out of the comfort zone or anything like that, but we just like having fun.
Yeah. I wanted to just speak a bit about that documentary you did with
Yeah,
Danish national TV because like I think it
it's a long
gave
time
you
ago, man.
yeah, it's a long time ago, but I think like it gave you like a broader appeal on what you say connection with the rest of the like normies in Denmark, if you can still say like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
And that whole thing was also
Yeah,
being portrayed as hey, we're just a fun loving hardworking metal guys friends touring doing this stuff. It's not as we're not as scary as we're sounding.
no, exactly, and I think a lot of people. First of all, I don't think a lot of people had that idea about death metal musicians. It's not scary, and I more think that's an idea put or it's just because people had a hard time relating to the music, but getting in behind like the tour bus and the music and seeing us just as normal persons
Yeah.
was a part of was a perfect caption of what we are all about,
Yeah.
which is like it's supposed to be fun, but we also take our kind of like arts and music very serious and work the shit out of our asses.
There's
Um,
three things that's come to mind right now because like a lot other death metal bands I think have that kind of same approach. Maybe like Black Dahlia Murder is a good example also, but they're like
yeah,
they're taking a lot of the piss out of their videos, like making fun videos but taking their music really serious.
yeah.
I know a lot of other
You
bands do
should
like
see
that.
you should see their TikTok.
Oh, I
It's
haven't.
amazing.
Oh,
It's
great.
amazing.
I need to check that out. Also,
Yeah.
I just saw like a documentary, like 3 or 4 hours about the Norwegian black metal and that whole scene. And like the thing about that was that they were like really trying to be scary and burning churches and stuff like that to make people
Absolutely.
afraid. And so I think maybe that was my like kind of connotation of what people thought like extreme metal was. And then there was like
Yeah.
another documentary in Denmark made in the zeros about like a local Copenhagen metal band. I can't remember the name right now, but
Storm Slay.
Stormslay, yeah, but it
Storm
portrayed
Slay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it portrayed them more as like I wouldn't say I won't say negative things, but not in the finest way. Let me say it like that. But like
No,
the
no.
documentary you did was more like, okay, these are normal guys. They have normal jobs. They have a family, some of them, and so forth.
Yeah.
And like, but you're just doing this thing next to it. I like that approach
Exactly.
much better than kind of social
Exactly.
losers.
Yeah, and but it also kind of like it's oh man, there's so many awkward like situations in that documentary. I really like it, but it's also very natural in some kind of uh, how do you say it bizarre way. Uh, it gets very funny and humorous, very natural, but with the main characters not knowing it's actually fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's today it's much more. No, I wouldn't say for us. It's about making us available and on the same terms and on the same level as normal people. We are quite relatable, and that's how we see ourselves.
That's great,
And
Simon.
that's how we want to be in front of people.
Awesome. I think you're doing that great, and you're a great live band. You're a great band. I've enjoyed so much watching all your videos and listening to your song these past few days, and it was a pleasure talking to you these past 30 minutes. And I hope I hope you get there safe wherever you're driving. And
yeah. I actually just got home, so it's actually completely perfect.
That's
I
perfect.
Talk from job and then home.
Yeah, we'll do that again some other time then.
It would be a pleasure.
Awesome. See you, and thank you guys for listening and watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.